Dona Helena always had a simple appearance. At 72, she wore discreet clothes, her gray hair pulled back in a low bun, and thin-rimmed glasses. Nothing about her screamed wealth or power. And that's exactly how she liked it. When her 8-year-old grandson, Miguel, started studying at Colegio Santa Clara, one of the city's most prestigious institutions, Helena decided to be a present grandmother. Every morning, she arrived promptly at 7:30 a.m. to drop him off at school, and at 5:30 p.m., she was there again to pick him up. The first few days went unnoticed. Helena waited patiently in the courtyard with other grandparents and parents, watching Miguel run and play with his classmates. But soon she began to notice something strange. She was completely ignored. In the first week, she tried to greet Miguel's teacher, Miss Carla, a 28-year-old fresh graduate. "Good morning, I'm Miguel's grandmother. How is he adjusting?" The teacher barely looked up from her phone, mumbled a dry "he's fine," and continued typing. Helena was disconcerted, but thought perhaps the young woman was busy. In the second week, during a small children's presentation in the courtyard, Helena approached a group of well-dressed mothers who were chatting animatedly. "Miguel sings so beautifully, don't you think?" she said with a maternal smile. The women looked her up and down, noticing her simple clothes, old bag, and worn shoes. One of them, Patricia, the wife of a local businessman, responded coldly, "Oh, yes, excuse me, but we're discussing important matters here." And they turned their backs on her. Helena felt a tightness in her chest. It wasn't about money or status. She had more than all of them combined. It was about basic respect, about manners. But she decided to maintain her composure and continued her silent routine. The following weeks were worse. The pedagogical coordinator, Sandra Reese, a 45-year-old woman who thought very highly of herself, treated Helena as if she were invisible. When Helena tried to schedule a meeting to discuss Miguel's development, Sandra said without even looking at her, "We only meet with the financially responsible parties. You're just the grandmother, right?
Bring the child's parents."
The doorman, Mr. Jose, a man in his 50s, always greeted parents arriving in imported cars effusively but barely waved at Helena when she passed. The other employees followed the same pattern, broad smiles for some, total indifference for her. The peak of disrespect came during the school's June festival. Helena had made a point of attending, wearing her best dress, which was still too simple for the local elite standards. She was trying to find Miguel among the children when she accidentally bumped into Patricia, who was holding a glass of wine. "Careful!
Can't you walk?"
Patricia yelled, even though Helena had barely touched her. "These people shouldn't even be here. Look how she dresses. What a disgrace for the school." Other mothers joined in, making whispered comments, but audible enough for Helena to hear, "She must be a domestic worker. Poor child, what a dysfunctional family. The school should be more selective." Helena felt tears welling in her eyes, but maintained her dignity. She took a deep breath and walked away in silence. At that moment, she made a decision. The following Monday, Helena did not show up at school. Nor on Tuesday. Miguel asked for her, worried, but his parents said she was traveling.
In truth, Elena was in meetings.
Many meetings. On Wednesday, an official announcement arrived at the school, leaving the entire school community in shock. From that day forward, there would be administrative changes. The true owner of Colegio Santa Clara, who for years had preferred to remain anonymous, would assume the general directorship of the institution. Sandra Reese was the first to discover the truth when she received the call from the law firm. Ms. Helena Mendonça, the sole owner of Colegio Santa Clara, would like to speak with you today. Sandra turned pale.
Elena Mendonça,
Miguel's grandmother? That simple old lady she had treated with such disdain? The news spread like wildfire.
Patricia almost fainted when she found out. The other mothers panicked.
Doorman Jose started sweating cold. Teacher Carla had an anxiety attack. They then discovered the whole story. Helena had founded the school 30 years ago when she became a widow and decided to invest her husband's substantial inheritance in education. For decades, she silently built an educational empire that included not only Santa Clara but 3 other schools in the region. She always preferred to work behind the scenes, leaving the administration to others, but she kept a close eye on everything. When Miguel needed a school, she saw the perfect opportunity to observe firsthand how her institution truly operated. What she discovered deeply disappointed her. On Thursday, Helena returned to school. But now it was different. She arrived in a chauffeured car, wearing an elegant navy blue suit and carrying a leather briefcase. The transformation wasn't just external. She exuded a natural authority that had always been there, just hidden beneath her humility. Sandra Reese rushed to meet her, stammering apologies. "Dona Helena, I didn't know. If I had known you were..." Helena interrupted her with a gentle wave of her hand. "Exactly, Sandra. You didn't know who I was, so you treated me badly. That says a lot about your character." One by one, the people who had ignored her came to try and apologize. Patricia was visibly nervous, knowing her son also studied there. "Dona Helena, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. I've always respected you very much." Helena just smiled sadly. "Patricia, respect shouldn't depend on discovering who someone is. It should be automatic." Teacher Carla cried as she approached. "Sorry, I was going through personal problems. It wasn't personal." Helena replied with kindness, but firmness. "Carla, personal problems never justify treating other people badly, especially your students' family members." In the following weeks, Helena implemented profound changes. She created a rigorous code of conduct on how all family members should be treated, regardless of their social status or appearance. She instituted regular training on respect and inclusion for all employees. Sandra Reese was transferred to a minor administrative role. Patricia and some other mothers had to attend workshops on empathy and respect as a condition for their children to remain in school. Teacher Carla, being young and showing genuine remorse, was given a second chance, but with constant monitoring. The most impressive thing was seeing how attitudes quickly changed when people knew who Helena really was. Suddenly, everyone wanted to talk to her, praised her simple clothes as charming and authentic, and vied for her attention. But Helena had learned something valuable about people's character. She continued to dress simply, as that was how she felt comfortable. The difference was that now everyone knew who she was, and that saddened her deeply. During a conversation with Miguel, he asked, "Grandma, why didn't you tell them you owned the school?" Helena caressed her grandson's face and replied, "Because I wanted to find out how they would treat me just being Grandma Helena. Unfortunately, I discovered that many people only respect those with apparent power or money." Months later, Helena continued to drop off and pick up Miguel every day. Now she received effusive greetings from everyone, but she knew it wasn't genuine. True respect had been revealed in those first few weeks when she was just an ordinary grandmother. The experience changed Helena profoundly. She used her position to create a more inclusive and respectful environment where all families were treated with dignity. But she would forever carry the sadness of having discovered how much appearance and social status still influenced people's behavior. Colegio Santa Clara became a reference not only in education but in human values. And Helena, the lady who was ignored for being ordinary, proved that true greatness lies in how we treat those who seemingly have nothing to offer us.